Hi everyone, I am Rica de Guzman, your second discussant for today's class. And my topic is all about the empires in ancient Mesopotamia and Hammurabi's code. Mr. David actually discussed what is Mesopotamia, and the Sumerian civilization is also part of his presentation. However, as a review, I'm going to mention some information about it. But before we start, I would like to tell you that the content of my PowerPoint only includes the key terms for you to remember it. Let's start. Mesopotamian civilization. It came from the Greek word middle, which means mesos, and river, which means potamos, meaning a country between two rivers. So, what are those two rivers? It is the Tigris and Euphrates. Today, we know them as the country of Iraq and Kuwait. And this is where Mesopotamia was formed. Mesopotamia is also known as the cradle of civilization. Why? It is because the most influential early city-states and empires were built during this time. Next, the following are the civilizations emerged during this time: the Sumerian, Assyrian, Akkadian, and Babylonian. During the time of Sumerian, a lot of city-states grew and expanded, as well as conflicts, so the city-states fought for the control of water and land. However, because it was located on a flat land, it was also open for invasion by the other groups. The others was discussed by Mr. David. Therefore, I am going to present the details about Akkadian and Babylonians. Let's now tackle the Akkadian Empire. What happened during this time? It was around 3000 BCE when the people of Sumerians or the Sumerians had an interchange from the people in North Mesopotamia known as the Akkadians. Akkadian Empire is the first empire built by Sargo. Sargo is the leader of the Akkadians. He invaded a lot of city-states, and that was the time the first empire in the world was built, and that was around 2340 BCE. But what is an empire? An empire is a large political unit or state with a single leader which controls the people and its territories. It is easy to create an empire. However, it is hard to maintain it. Hence, the rise and fall of the empire is an important part of our history. The language that they use is called Akkadian. It is known as a Semitic language. It means it is related to modern languages known as Arabic and Hebrew. The fall of the Akkadian happened around 2100 BCE because of the attack from its neighbors. The Babylonian Empire. Babylon was a minor city-state for many years. However, things have changed when Hammurabi came to power. And his reign is from 1792 to 1750 BCE. Hammurabi was an efficient ruler, and one of the most significant contributions or works during this civilization is the Code of Hammurabi. Later on, I will go into discuss more about this code. Going back, because of Hammurabi's death way back in 1750 BCE, the following king were unable to keep the empire a united one. So, the empire fell to the hands of the invaders. This civilization is one of the most remembered empire because of their great king, which is Hammurabi. So now, let's tackle the Code of Hammurabi. This is what the Code of Hammurabi looks like. As you can see on the first picture, Hammurabi is standing in front of a seated sun god called Shamash. Shamash is the god of justice of the Babylonians. This is the upper part or the upper section of the stela. While the middle picture is the whole part of the stela. It is a 7-foot monument, and this is where the Code of Hammurabi was written. This picture is the Code of Hammurabi itself, and it is written in the language of Akkadian. The Code of Hammurabi is the most complete, even though there are already earlier Mesopotamian law codes. Basically, it was written by King Hammurabi, and its influence is evident on the later civilizations. Somehow, the other religions that we know now, like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam has influence of the Code of Hammurabi. However, let's not forget that there's a lot of difference too. It was written by King Hammurabi about 1745 BCE. It also says that the Code of Hammurabi is similar to the Urs Code written by the Sumerian king none other than Ur-Nammu. It was 1901 when Jacques de Morgan found the stela in Susa, Iran. And now we can find the Code of Hammurabi in the Louvre Museum in Paris. The code consists of 282 laws, and these are known as harsher than the Sumerian laws. It was based on a system of strict justice, and punishment for very serious offenses were very harsh. And they vary according to the social class of the victim. It covered almost every aspect of people's lives, because if we will read and understand the 282 laws, we will notice that it tackles a lot of things about the people, the society, and the way we live. To further understand why they say that the Code of Hammurabi is harsh, let me share to you 10 laws from the Code of Hammurabi. I am not going to discuss all of it because that's a lot of laws and we don't have the time to present all of that. However, I'm encouraging you to read and understand the laws or the Code of Hammurabi if you have spare time. Let's now proceed. The first one is the third law. If anyone bring an accusation of any crime before the elders and does not prove what he has charged, he shall, if it be a capital offense charged, be put to death. To simply put it, if someone accuses an elder and doesn't have a proof, then that is the payment for what he or she did. And then the next one is, if a judge try a case, reach a decision, and present his judgment in writing, if later error shall appear in his decision, and it be through his own fault, then he shall pay 12 times the fine set by him in the case, and he shall be publicly removed from the judge bench, and never again shall he sit there to render judgment. So this one is for the judges. So if they ruled incorrectly on a case, then they also have a punishment. The next one is, if anyone steal the property of a temple or of the court, he shall be put to death. And also the one who receives the stolen thing from him shall be put to death. So in here, if you steal something and receive that stolen material, then your life will be taken to you. The next one is, if anyone steal cattle or sheep or an ass or a pig or a goat, if it belong to a god or to the court, the thief shall pay 30-fold therefore. If they belong to a freedman of the king, he shall pay 10-fold. If the thief has nothing with which to pay, he shall be put to death. Also in here, if you steal an animal mentioned above, then you have to pay for it. Or if you don't have money, then the payment is your life. The next one is, if a son strike his father, his hand shall be hewn off. So in here, a son who hit his father, then his hand shall be cut off. The next one is, if he perform a serious operation on an ass or ox and kill it, he shall pay the owner 1/4 of its value. So if a doctor killed an animal, then he shall pay for what he did. And then the next one is if a builder build a house for someone and does not construct it properly, and the house which the build fall in and kill its owner, then that builder shall be put to death. So this is very difficult because if the house that the builder built and it killed the owner of the house, then his life shall be taken too. And then the next one is, if a man hire a sailor, he shall pay him 6 gur of corn per year. So this is one of the laws pertaining on a giving of reward or payment for someone. Second to the last is, if she is not innocent but leaves her husband and ruins her house, neglecting her husband, this woman shall be cast into the water. So if a woman did those things mentioned above, then she will be thrown off into the water. And then the last one is, if anyone be guilty of incest with his mother after his father, both shall be burned. So if an incest happened between them, then their punishment is they will be burned. As I told you earlier, if you will read the Code of Hammurabi and understand it, you will notice that the largest category of it is focus in family and marriage. Furthermore, it is visible that women has fewer rights in marriage unlike men. That is visible or if you will read the Code of Hammurabi. And moreover, it is men who dominated the society way back then. So that's it. That's the end of my report. I hope you guys understand my lesson very well. And we're going to have a short recitation after watching this. Thank you so much.